everybody. This is Ian from the GameBrew podcast. Before we get to the show, I just wanted to reach out to say thank you for listening to the podcast. We really do this show for you. So it makes a big difference to us that you're our listeners. So thanks for doing that. If you want to help support us, there's a couple of things you can do. You could leave us a review on iTunes. You could make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast, which will also help make sure that as soon as a new show is released, it's showing up in your feed. And then you can also like and share us on all of the social media at the GameBrew. We're being pretty good about being out there on the social media these days. So if you're interested in supporting the show, those are some ways you can do it. If not, we're just gonna do the show right now, so you can just listen to it and have a great time, and that's cool too. All right, enjoy the show.
Welcome to our first live stream on Pornhub.
Hi! You know, I bet we would get a following.
No. Dan, no.
That's great.
The game.
I like
What's the title of this episode?
Right now, the title is our first Pornhub.
That was way too much big toe for us. Way too much.
Dan does have some nice.
Oh, I know you like those big toes, though.
Okay, can we talk about the foot fetish for a second?
No, we cannot.
no. Are
No,
we?
we're not
What do you want to? I want to know. I want to hear what
No.
Ian has to say about it. I want to see where this is
hard
going to go.
My beer's
I
getting
need to
cold.
drink first.
Hello and welcome to episode 50 of the GameBrew podcast. I am your host, Ian Venom Richard, and I'm here with Chris Kingpin Wrights,
Oh, nice. Yeah, I get to be Kingpin. He's the man.
Dan J. Jonah Jameson Rotz,
You call this an introduction, Parker? I've seen more creative introductions on the back of cereal boxes. Well, at least you're not as phony as that Spider-Man. Oh, I hate that pest.
That is wonderful.
Will Mysterio Shell,
I don't know what he says, but I know I get a cool mask and some spandex.
Allison,
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, you're Jake Gyllenhaal now.
Allison Black Cat Vandevender,
I'd just like to note that I get to date Peter Parker, so I'm clearly the winner here.
and special guest Kari Dr. Otto Octavius Bowen.
Ooh, I have some
Welcome.
claws.
Willkommen.
Ching, 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 ching.
On the first half of today's show, we'll check in to see whether the games in our backlog indeed sparked joy. And in the second half, we're interviewing our very special guest because she's really cool. But first, it's time for a beer. Chris,
Yeah.
what are we drinking this week?
This is Shiner Bock.
I love Shiner Bock.
It's from Texas, just like Kari.
Hey!
See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
So Shiner Bock is
Gross.
from the Spatzel Brewery in Shiner, Texas.
Spätzle.
Spatzel.
Spätzle.
As of 2012, it's the fourth largest craft brewery in the U.S.
Really?
Wow.
Oh, this is. I'm glad we picked this. This is one of my go-to beers. Like if I'm at the store and it's like I just want a lot of the same beer, this is my go-to. It's golden.
And all of you guys
smooth.
have it.
Mm-hmm.
We
I
do.
know. Because it's
Yeah,
from the fourth largest
And it's ubiquitous.
brewery in the United States.
It smells like Yingling, pretty much.
Yeah.
a
It's
little
got
bit
that smooth
better
than
Yingling
Yingling.
taste to it.
It doesn't smell like pickles because you're in a pickle jar again.
I bought you glasses.
Ian's got some of that Mount
You
Olive
have
Shiner
so many
Bock.
glasses now.
I
Really?
honestly I like drinking from the pickle jar. I don't
Also,
know
do
what
you eat a lot of pickles? Like, is that why you just have a gratuitous amount of pickle jars?
That's really like 2 pickle jars.
Gratuitous, good for
Hey, if you want to support the Game Brew, just send us like $5 and we'll send you a pickle jar that's an Ian
Signed by
That
Ian.
Ian has
touch
drank out
his
of.
lips.
beer drinking pickle jar.
I will actually do
You
that
can
if
drink
you send
just
me
like
$5.
like the Game
Guys,
Brew.
guys, if we ever become famous enough to make products, a pickle jar is going to be one of the things that's a cup. We're going to sell it.
Yep.
Done.
Yep.
You know what's
Done.
really cool
All right.
about Shiner Bock? I don't know how up to date their
Bringing it back.
labels
Thanks,
are,
Will.
but for the fourth largest, would you say the fourth largest brewery?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
the population in Shiner, Texas is 2,069, according to the back of this bottle. So I would assume
And they
that's
all
probably
work
fairly,
there.
still fairly accurate. And all this beer.
Have
From
have
Russia.
you been to Shiner, Texas, Carrie?
No, not yet. I was actually thinking about going today, but I didn't get a chance to.
How far is it from
Oh.
where you live?
A little over an hour and a half, maybe
Okay,
close
that's
to
not
2
bad.
hours, depending. Yeah, it's not too far.
Considering how big Texas is,
Yeah.
that's not.
That's true.
That's like right next door. Awesome. Yeah, no, it's a really good smooth beer. It's got a lot of malty flavor. This would go with a pretzel like Ian goes with shaving his head.
True.
Like Dan goes with real glasses.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a good beer. It's
Ooh.
smooth. I like the sweet finish at the end.
Will's right.
No,
it
it
does
does.
kind of have a sweet finish. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where it's a little different from Yingling. I think Yingling
Yeah.
is just kind of smokier the whole time. Like you drink it, and it's a good drinking beer. Both of these are good drinking beers, but Yingling's like kind of hefty. This is a little less hefty, a little bit more nice and zesty.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say like Yingling has less depth of flavor. This is a lot more smooth.
Oh, yeah,
than
for
Yingling.
Yeah,
I'm also
definitely.
not a huge Yingling fan.
I think you're.
I
think
prefer this a lot to Yingling.
Shit. We
Yingling-
just lost all of the Pennsylvania audience, you
It's
guys.
fine.
Okay,
I'll keep
all
all the Maryland people going with my Netty Bow intake.
Yingling has depth of flavor. It's just not a bock. Like it's not a darker beer like this one is. It's a
Okay.
lager.
Yeah, it's true. It is a lager.
This is a lager.
Is it? Is a
What's
bock a
I
lager?
thought it was a bock.
Yeah, it's a
that
strong
a-
lager.
Oh,
well, do you have to explain that to me?
It's
'Cause
a
I'm
strong.
dumb.
Okay, fine. A Bock is a strong lager of German origin.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Carrie, are you also drinking the bock, or because you got like a special variety super pack or something?
I am starting with the buck.
You are starting with the bock.
Yes.
How many
And
did
from there,
you get with
you're
that?
just working backwards towards the rest of the
Backwards.
beers.
Correct.
No, after the Bock, she's gonna go to like Mozart and then Beethoven and then.
Brr.
Ooh. I like that
Dark
bottle.
cherry. Nice. I've
That'll
never
be the
seen
second
Fancy
one.
boys.
Kind of
Yeah,
matches your hair color too.
a little.
Mhm.
A little.
That's what she was
All
going
right.
for.
So Carrie, tell us what you've been playing this past week.
A lot of 7 Days to Die.
Yes, I got to play with you a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
I still haven't.
I
You
might
need to
go
come back and play some
completely.
more.
I need to. That game is very complex.
It is, but starting out is a little tough, and with the Alpha 17, it's a lot harder. But they've added some really cool things. Lots of new
Yeah.
vehicles and new dungeons to explore.
Y'all
So-
had motorcycles and a farm and like all the bullets.
Yep. Well, we have a truck now, so
You
Oh,
have
nice.
a truck?
yeah, a 2-person truck.
Carrie, can you explain what 7 Days to Die is for the audience who has never heard of and or played this before?
It's a zombie survival game. It's got a little bit of elements of like a tower defense in a sense that every 7 days you get a horde of zombies. It's called a blood moon. So every 7 days they just get harder and harder. You get bigger zombies that are radioactive. Yeah, all kinds of cool stuff.
So is this
So.
offline game, or is this like a persistent online world and the stuff you've
All of
accumulated
the above.
saves?
So you can make a server,
Uh-huh.
or you can do single player offline, or co-op. So I just host a game, and then
Gotcha.
my brother and whoever else wants to join can join.
Carrie, how many hours do you have into 7 Days to Die?
Oh my god!
That is
That is
short for
the
a lot.
telltale
I
question.
have
Well, so I guess my question
have-
around this is like, so go ahead.
1,061 hours.
Wow.
Ow!
That's so,
So-
impressive.
Well, so I guess my question is like, what keeps you coming back?
I don't know. I really like survival games. I really like crafty games where you have to kind of level up to unlock new crafting stuff. And I
Sure.
like being able to
Mhm.
play games with my brother. So that's a game we like to play
Nice.
together. Yeah.
There are a bunch of games that are survival crafty games and a bunch of games you could play with your brother. Why this one?
And we try out new ones all the time, actually. This one just keeps us coming back because they've released new stuff recently.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say it's changed even since we last played. And I feel like it wasn't that long ago we played. It was like, what, November? December-ish?
Yeah, the recent Alpha 17 recently came out, but it was well over a year before they came out with that. So everybody was chomping at the bit for new stuff.
Got it. Chris, what have you been up to?
I've been playing Deus Ex Mankind Divided. It's been a while since I've played the original Human Revolution. I played that back in college, I think. It actually was recommended to me by Dan during brass band one day.
Whoa,
Thanks, Dan.
proto GameBrew days.
Yeah.
Yeah, way proto gamer. I was just like, hey, have you played this Mankind, this Human Revolution?
Pretty
game?
cool. And I was like,
Pretty
oh,
fucking
check
cool,
it
man.
out.
And then
it
we
was
just
cool.
played tuba.
Does Human Revolution live up to the originals? Because the original was great. I played it and it's wonderful.
The
Does it live
original
up to
being
it?
like the originals?
No.
Like Deus Ex Machina?
No. Does it live up to Deus Ex
Revolution?
the one
Human
that came
Revolution.
out for Human Revolution?
It feels very similar, but there are things that kind of bug me about it right now. I think I liked the Human Revolution a little better. I'm noticing, like, we were talking recently about being rewarded for exploring. And I feel like this game does the opposite because there isn't you're supposed to explore, but at the same time, I've found that multiple times I've kind of messed up missions because I was exploring and going into areas I shouldn't be in yet because I hadn't gotten that far in the mission. And that's kind of frustrating because my first thought is to go exploring.
Right.
But I messed up one of the side missions because I already explored through there and wasn't able to complete that mission.
Kind of feel like people are trying to get you to stay in the playpen.
Yeah, so that's kind of frustrating. Other than that, it's really good. I really enjoy that style of game, being able to approach situations in different ways, like either a stealth way or kind of figuring out, like if I'm able to break through a wall or use my ability to hack something is really cool. So it keeps it interesting and makes you think on your toes, which I really like.
Yeah. Cool. Dan?
Well, we talked last time about nostalgia, and because of that, I picked up the Halo. I have the Halo Master Chief collection
for
on my
interesting.
Xbox. So I finally finished the 80.5 gigabyte update that had been waiting to go through on
80
there.
and how much?
It's 80 gigabytes
What?
because it updates all the music and it updates all the graphics and it updates all of the play style stuff. So I'm playing Halo 2. I had recently played the Halo Combat Evolved, like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm playing through Halo 2 again with like updated graphics. And it's interesting because if you press the like select button or the button formerly known as the select button, it switches back and forth between the old graphics and the new graphics.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can kind of see like, oh, this is what it did look like, but this is what it looks like with the new stuff. But some of the jokes and stuff are really hitting me. There's the one part in Halo 2, you're going through this city, and Sergeant Johnson comes in and he drops off a tank for you, and Cortana goes, oh, Sarge, you always give me the nicest things, and he like cocks the big machine gun. He's like, oh, I know what the ladies like.
Oh
and
my
I laughed
God.
And like, even though I knew it was coming and I knew it was an obvious like stupid joke from the original games, I was like, I laughed out loud because I was like, this is great. I love this stuff because it's like bringing me back to whenever I was 14 and playing Halo and just loving that stuff.
Nice. That's cool. Allison, have you been getting some gaming on?
Yeah, I actually finished Detention this week.
Okay, no, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about
No,
it later.
that's
What
not
else?
the game though. That was the
Oh,
other.
that's not the
That
game.
wasn't the game?
Oh, I thought that was the game.
No, that's not the game I picked. That was the one that I bought for Halloween, and I played it for that, and I never got quite to the end, so I went ahead and finished that this week.
How long is that?
Got it.
It's hard to tell because I broke it apart so much. But I'd say the gameplay probably overall was 3 hours or less.
So long, short, or medium?
short.
I would say
call it a
short.
short.
Yeah. It was definitely
All right.
short, and it kind of depends on how fast you power through things. I did a lot of exploring because I was trying to complete things. Plus, it doesn't give you a lot of direction, so sometimes you're wandering, and it's really puzzly.
So this is like a spooky puzzler horror game?
Yeah, so I would put it into like the more mental horror. It was
Okay.
very messed up. Like the theme in the beginning, I was like, oh, spooky ghost jumping at me. Yeah, this is like your basic horror game. But then as the game got on and I got to the end, it just like took this weird twist that was very, very odd. So yeah, very psychological, crazy.
Would you recommend to others who like horror games?
Yeah, I would. As long as they're not like weirded out by those really dark themes. That's what I really wasn't expecting. I was expecting it to be more jump scary than it was like a really dark themed game. And it was beautiful. The art of it was really what kept me going. It was very weird and paper cutouty kind of thing.
Okay.
And it was gorgeous. Loved it. A little boring at times, but it's more because it didn't give me enough direction to find what I was supposed to do next. But that also made the game harder. Otherwise, it would be just really easy, and I would have pounded through it very fast. So
that's a point for
That's a point
Allison.
for Allison.
yeah, by the way, point.
There's a sound.
Also, I did want to mention I did finish my dwarf campaign in Total War Warhammer 2.
There's another
That was about like 50 or 60, maybe 50 hours, I think. So
I'm
Pretty
still
happy about
feeling salty about this game.
Oh,
I'm
shut
gonna
up.
lose this year where I'm getting that master's
You gotta play the
degree.
game.
Oh man,
Hashtag 2019, finish all the stuff.
Oh, I am finishing all the stuff. Believe me, I'm finishing some stuff.
What have you been playing there?
I actually moving has taken a lot longer than I thought. Like you can see all the crap still sitting behind me. I don't even have stuff up on the built-in shelves yet.
That's why you
For
have
those
a
of you who
Switch.
can't,
That is why I have a
for those of you
Switch.
who can't see, Will has piles of shit just to
Everywhere.
the ceiling around him. It's
to the
basically
windows, to the
him.
walls.
From the window to the wall. And I have so I hooked up the rig, and I've actually been hopping on playing some Counter-Strike and Overwatch and like quick action things like that. I can sit down and play for like 5 to 10 minutes and take like a mental break and then go back and unpack or do my homework or whatever. And yeah, a whole lot of that for the
Will's
most part.
also 13 years old.
Cool.
By the way.
Cool.
It's been good.
I have been playing this little indie title called Apex Legends. Has anyone heard of this?
I have been playing it a little bit too. Just
I downloaded
With
it for my
Ian.
PS4, but I haven't played it.
It's good. This is okay.
It's-
So for anybody who lives under 3 rocks and also a towel and blanket, this is a battle royale game by Respawn, the people who did Titanfall and Titanfall 2, and it's real good. It's real good.
How
did a
good
good
is
job.
it?
It's so good that I don't feel a need to go back to PUBG or Fortnite.
Ooh, wow.
Really?
It's
Yep.
true. Well, I mean, with the amount of like traction it's getting from streamers and your average game players, it's doing good. It's doing well.
It's doing well.
I tried it. I like it.
Yeah, I jumped because of that game. I jumped back into the Titanfall 2 multiplayer, and Titanfall 2 was so
It's
good.
amazing.
Why is no one playing Titanfall 2?
It flew under the radar when it came out.
He's right,
Like, there
though.
was
It's
other
so good.
stuff that happened.
It's so
It's-
well
it-
done.
It feels great to shoot guns. It feels great to stomp around in stompy robots. It feels
There is a story mode, right?
like
Yeah.
there's a really
very
good
good one.
campaign. And it's probably my favorite shooter in recent memory. I can't think of another shooter that I liked as much as Titanfall 2. So yeah, there's that, and then also I've been trying to get my NES skills up in Smash Bros. So that's been me. I'm still trash.
Hashtag Ian is trash. It's trending on social media.
All right. So that's it for the games we've been playing with this week. Speaking of games we've been playing this week, we had a couple more that we've sort of need to get to. So way back in episode 49, we decided
Long
to
time
dig
ago.
way back. We decided to dig back in our
Travel
backlogs.
music.
to see if there was anything good in there, to rummage around in the cardboard boxes with the moths flying out. And so this past week we played those games, and so I want to talk about whether or not they were worth playing, those things in our backlog. And I wanted to start with Chris because I know Chris finished his because he's fancy.
I
Chris,
did finish mine.
Remind us what's the
Here's
game.
So I played Killzone Shadowfall, which was a
is-
release title for
Yeah.
PS4.
OG Killzone, right?
Not the first Killzone. There's Killzones like on PS3 and PS2 before that, and it's made by, is it Guerrilla Games? I think that made Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh.
Yeah, so it uses the same engine as Horizon Zero Dawn. They obviously made it before that, but
I didn't realize that.
so it looks like for a game that came out 5 years ago, 6 years ago,
A while.
it sounds really good, or it looks really good. The thing that I noticed about it that was kind of not up to par, like current par with video games, was just the way people moved were kind of like robotic moving.
Like your impression of robotic movement.
Yeah, like it looked really funny, and like just some of the physics stuff looked weird, but like overall the game looked really good. As far as the gameplay, I really enjoyed the fact that they tried to change it up. It wasn't just like a straight first-person shooter all the time. Like sometimes you'd be flying around, and sometimes you'd be like falling or having to do like these kind of different little. They would change the gameplay up just enough at the right times that every mission didn't feel exactly the same, and I thought that was really good.
Did you jump into any of the multiplayer?
It's pretty dead.
Pretty dead.
It's really really dead. I
Were there
tried
like 7 Russian guys in there or something
yeah,
like that?
and it's pretty dead.
Come let us play Killzone.
But
so
overall, I mean, it was the story was pretty basic. The gameplay was a lot of fun. If you can pick it up for like $5 if you need something to play, it's good, and it kind of inspired me. That's kind of why I picked up Deus Ex again, was because it reminded me of that kind of feel without having like the RPG elements in it.
got it. So why was this one sitting in your backlog?
Because I bought it like around the same time as I bought a PS4 and just never got around to it.
Got it. And so you already said it inspired you to play another game. So worth going back? You're glad you did it?
I'm glad I played it, and I'm glad that, I think it's a cool game, but like it definitely, some parts of it have aged well and others have not.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'd give it a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, we need to do this in Marie Kondo values though. So it needs to be like how much joy
Did it bring me
exactly did
joy?
it
How many
spark? Yes.
condos did it,
how many condos of joy did it spark?
I
How
would
many
give it
adorable Asian women would you give it?
I will give it 5 perfectly folded towels.
Nice.
will I keep it in my back? Will I keep it around? Will it still give me joy?
Or will you set it free?
I think at this point I'm going to thank it and set it free. But I'm
nice.
glad that I enjoyed its service.
Okay, great. Perfect. Dan, what were you digging around in bins for?
I wanted to play and finish Outlast 2, which I did. Bling.
Ring!
So, and that was
Outlast is survival horror, right?
Outlast-
Especially 2.
Outlast 2 and Outlast. Those games are survival horror games, where the entire story is told by, like, it's in first-person perspective, and the way it creates like fear and tension is by making it's very dark most of the time, and any time that you want to see in the dark, you have a camera and you hold that up to your face, and you have to use the night vision mode. So even though you can see, it's not perfect, and it also makes people's eyes glow. And like it just is very creepy, but
There's no flashlights or candles or
there's no
lamps.
flashlights.
is
You
the
just have your camera in the night vision mode, and you have to keep finding batteries around in order to actually use the night vision.
So this sounds like a game that's actually was right up your alley. Why was it sitting in your backlog?
Because it was a sequel, number one, and because I downloaded it and was like, I'm going to play this. And then just a bunch of other stuff came out, and I was like, well, I'm going to play it eventually, but not right now. Also because I don't know if you know this, but scary games are scary, and sometimes it's hard to motivate yourself to play things that make you want to poop your pants. Which I did many times playing this game.
Did you wear some Depends?
I've got a pile. I don't know if you can see it, but it's over here. I have to clean it still. The perks of living by yourself. You don't have to clean the pile of dirty adult diapers that you have from playing Outlast 2.
God, that is foul. That is foul. I want to talk about my game next. Is that okay with everybody?
I think let's hear from him.
Let me just say before we move on from Outlast 2, it was good and it was a sequel.
How many spooky graveyards?
No. Marie Kondo, the folded towels.
No, but this goes with the.
Yeah, but it's got to be like well organized, see-through cabinets.
How many spooky ghosts?
A great drawer.
If I had to give this game a Marie Kondo rating, I would give it 3 Halloween decorations I'm not yet ready to part with because they still bring me spooky joy.
And how many spooky ghosts?
Better or worse than Outlast 1?
It was a little bit worse than Outlast 1, in my opinion, just because the stuff that they were doing, it felt easier. It felt easier, and it felt like I was on like a little bit more tracks as far as how to solve puzzles. Like the puzzles were kind of easy, and they really went for the shock value in like some of the scares. Like there were a couple jump scares, but a lot of the stuff was kind of, the game Outlast was kind of gory. This one was extremely gory. And there's one point, spoiler alert, where you like watch a child being born from like underneath, and it's not
It's not the miracle of life, is what you're saying.
It's not a miracle at all.
Okay, so the game that I took out of my backlog and decided to play because it deserved it was Undertale, which I'm sure we're all aware is sort of a retro RPG about making friends and saying nice things to all the monsters that live underground.
Or not.
Or ruthlessly murdering them all, which is also a choice. I really like this game. I full disclosure, I haven't finished it. I'm maybe 5.5 hours in.
That's okay.
Out of like a 6.5 hour game. It's not super long. And what I like about it is that it's as much about trust and about choice as it is about, everyone talks about the game like it's just about being a pacifist or why being a pacifist is important, but it's really not about that. It's about how to have an impact on the world without resorting to violence, and I think that's a really powerful thing. And also like what the impact can be if we all work together, and like for a video game to get at that is just wild in the first place and super fun. And the game is so charming and goofy.
And also you get to go on a date with Papyrus, and it's super cute.
You get to go on a date with Papyrus, and it's super... There's so many things in that game that just make me chuckle. You know, when I say it's about trust too, you have a lot of opportunity to be a jerk. And so the game sort of trusts you to like, hey, this is how this game works. Like, you can play it this way. And also, like, sometimes it's best not to trust people. Like, it's just funny. I don't know. There's a lot going on in that game. Has anyone else played Undertale?
Nope. I played it for like 5 minutes and was like, this isn't for me.
I haven't played it yet. I want to.
Yeah, it's definitely worth your time.
Carrie, have you played it at all?
Like Chris, I tried and just couldn't do it.
You just couldn't do it?
We just like to murder people too much.
The little laugh. Love it. Anyway, Will, did you get into? Did you dive into the old murder, the old alien murder?
Alien murder.
Demon murder.
With Doom.
Yeah.
I actually ended up doing something else because it took me a few days to get. We had to wait a while to get moved in. We had plumbers coming in and doing some different stuff, and just so I changed up. I threw an audible. And through an audible, you don't throw an audible, you call an audible.
You call an audible, which is, again, something totally allowed in the GameBrew, which we play in.
Well, I'm going to throw an audible. So I threw an audible.
Okay.
And I dug way back into my backlog of something that I haven't played in years, and I never, ever, ever beat it. And I can't find it now, so I ended up having to get it on my phone. But I think it's like in a box in my parents' attic.
What is it?
Chrono Trigger.
What is it? Chrono Trigger.
Oh, interesting.
I played it for 20 minutes, 30 minutes when I was a kid, and I didn't really understand what was going on. It was before I could understand and appreciate an
None
RPG.
of us understand what's going on.
And
I still don't.
oh man, it's fun. That's become my nightly thing. It's like I hop in bed, I get on my jammies, and I get down under the covers, I pull them up, and I get all warm, and then I whip out the phone, and then I just.
Where
play.
are you on phone Chrono Trigger?
I am
Phono Trigger, if you will.
phone Chrono Trigger. I am. Oh, where am I? I rescued the real princess.
You okay? You
I just rescued the
princess?
real princess, and I've got Frog. I've had Frog for a bit.
Frog.
Nice.
Glenn is the best. Go on.
I don't have Glenn yet.
Okay. Don't Ian.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
It's really good. It's fun. It's classic.
It is.
It's enjoyable. It's like it's exactly what I need. The one thing I'll say about having it on the phone, like if you're gonna offer something on mobile like that, you need to have save states. Like it's 2019.
Ooh. Oh, so
does
it's
it not
still
have that part?
If there are save states, I haven't figured out how the hell to do it.
Okay.
interesting.
Well, I mean, I guess the original game didn't have save states either. So I
Yeah,
mean,
but
it's
2019. Like, what
it's
if I
hard.
just want to play while I'm on the crapper, and then I got to go do some stuff? Like, I can't sit on the crapper for 2 hours. I mean, I can.
Not with that attitude.
So are you glad that you brought it out of your backlog? You feel like you're accomplishing something? It's good.
Yeah, I actually am, and I'm kind of glad I did that instead of playing Doom or something newer. I don't know. It just makes me feel like a kid again, and I've got some seriously high stress. Like all in the past year of my life, I've had like 3 out of the 5 or 6 most stressful like life events you can have. I've had like nearly half of them happen in the past year, and this has made me feel like a kid again. And it's a really good distraction to just feel like a child and let everything else go away and harken back to my roots.
Okay. How many sorted utensil cabinets would you give this?
Sorted utensil cabinets.
Utensil drawers, maybe?
Oh, because I'm moving. I get it.
And Marie Kondo.
I get it. Oh, Marie Kondo.
Marie, you know that thing we've been doing the whole
Yeah.
time.
I was like, what? Well, I haven't watched the show enough to do. Like, had you said like how tall a pile of clothes on the bed, I would have gotten it. Because in every damn episode that I've wandered through the room, it's like there's a pile of shit on the bed. I mean, so far what's the max amount of sorted drawers you can have?
It's your scale.
Oh, well, so far I'm gonna go 4.5 out of 5 sorted drawers.
Wow.
It's
Wow, okay.
nostalgic in
Statement.
all the right ways. It's scratching all the itches. Even that one where you gotta like bend
That's
weird.
a lot of
Well, you should get those
appropriately
checked out
stacked forks.
if you've got a lot of
Oh,
itches.
well, I have hard water.
Hard.
Oh, Allison, what about you? How's your backlog?
So I played Detroit Become Human for the
Finally.
PlayStation 4.
Oh, yeah.
And I really am enjoying it. I did not finish it yet, unfortunately. But I put a pretty good dent in it and got the gist of it. And for people who don't know what the game's like, it's kind of like playing a movie, which is very cool.
Good way to say it.
The things that I really like about it are the motion capture for the characters. Like the actors did a really good job making these believable. And I know it's really silly, but my favorite thing about the game are the eyes of the characters. Because a lot of times when they do motion capture for movies or for video games, the thing that loses me is the eyes. Like I still can clearly tell I'm playing a video game. These characters are not that lifelike that I'm so taken out of it. But the way that the eyes flicker when the characters aren't doing things are very natural. They're not just like dead pan straight all the
Soulless.
time. Yeah, like even just on the start game menu, there's an android there and her eyes literally just flicker consistently, like a normal person's would when it was standing not doing anything.
Well, so that's kind of something I'm curious about, because it seems like the game is kind of an extended meditation on, like, do androids dream of electric sheep? Like on what it means to be human, and whether or not something that is fundamentally inhuman can count as human, and what humanity is. Yeah.
I've read a little about before I ever played this game. I read a little on it, and that's why I wanted it so bad. And the creator said that that he really wanted to take things that people would not put in video games and put it in video games. So there's a lot of like dark tones in this, and there's a lot of questions about the future, like you said, and like where we could go if some things happened with the way that the world's directed. And he really hits on those, like a lot of books I've read like that have, about the androids, and when they get there, like there are humans who are upset at the androids for taking their jobs. There are humans that are just like angry at them for the one of the, I don't want to give up too much about the story, I guess, so I'm dancing around some stuff. But one of the characters really plays with that idea of like, can an android have human emotions and have human thought and have human, like, can he paint a painting? Like, that's actually memed, that little scene where the android tries to paint a painting that isn't just like a printed version of something he's seen. That's a scene in the game that ended up getting memed, and like people put different things for it. But that's definitely a huge tone in this, and there are things in this game, like it's not really giving anything away because it's so early. One of the characters, you're an android placed in a very harsh environment of like a dad and a daughter, and the dad's like doing drugs and drinking alcohol and beats his daughter, and actually had beat the android into pieces, and you have just come back to the environment with a wiped memory and don't know what happened. But the little girl basically tells you in some colored drawings you find in her room. So it's like a really dark like tone to a lot of the things in this game. And the creator said, you know, specifically he wanted to do the things he felt people wouldn't do in games and needed to be talked about.
Yeah, I think the danger there is that a lot of time pop culture doesn't necessarily do hard topics or difficult topics with a sense of like a true sense of realism or a true sense of like respect for those topics. Do you feel like the game does?
That's kind of the hard thing for me. So I feel like this game, the place it shines are doing stupid tasks. And I know that seems weird, but like when I'm the android walking around and I'm cleaning up the room, it's very zen and it feels right, and the controls for it are nice, and those are the moments this game shines, which is weird. It's kind of like I'm playing a first-person sim game, like The Sims.
First-person Marie Kondo cleaning
Yes.
tidying up with androids
appropriately. Or like when I'm playing one of the other characters and I'm just walking around serving breakfast to the man who owns me. You know, those kinds of things. It feels very good. But some of this feels forced into the game. Like it's I think it's good that it wanted to make some statements about society, right? I think that it's very interesting that he wanted to go there and do it and just full on do it. And there are different endings depending on what you choose, which I feel like really are amplified in this game compared to other games that I've played. Like the scenario I just explained to you, there are very bad outcomes for it no matter what you do, but some of them are worse than others. So I thought those things are really good with it, but definitely some of the themes feel forced in because he wanted to do them rather than it made sense for this game.
Definitely. Okay, so Marie Kondo rating, let's see. How
I
many
will give it. I
organized
got this.
bookshelves? Oh, you got it. Okay, great.
Yeah, I got this. I can do organized bookshelves. I'll give it. I'm not fully through it, so it's a little hard for me, but I'm going to give it 6.5 organized bookshelves by androids out of 10.
By
Excellent.
androids. Is that different from like humans?
It's important.
Bookshelves?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
they're-
It's much
they're
better.
Way more
And
cleanly
faster.
organized. Yeah. All right, well, that's going to do it for us for the first half. In the second half, we're going to interview Kari Bowen and talk about her QA work for NCSoft back in the day. So stick with us. Hello and welcome back to the second half of the GameBrew podcast, episode 50. Let's check in with Shiner Bock.
Or what, Carrie? What Shiner are you drinking right now?
Oh yeah, what Shiner are you drinking?
I'll open the dark cherry, Morello dark
Yes.
cherry.
Do it, because I want to know what it tastes like. Explain it to me.
It
Dr.
tastes
Pepper.
like dark cherry.
These are twist offs.
Are they?
Yeah.
Did you not?
Did you do it again and snap it?
I have been using the thing.
Oh.
They're definitely Twist Boys.
Okay, and
So-
how's the dark cherry?
It's really good. You definitely get the cherry aftertaste in there. It's not
it
like
like a-
sweet or anything like that, but
So it's
Oh,
not
that's
like a
good.
soda type beer thing.
no.
Is it what type of beer? Is that like a stout or is it a?
It says it's a black lager.
Oh,
Okay,
Ooh, I
so
like
more
black.
like a-
yeah,
More like a porter almost then, I guess.
yeah. Black lagers are good.
Yeah, that does sound nice with a little bit of
Lagers,
cherry.
yes.
That's like a
Yeah.
perfect winter beer right there.
It was from their Texas Cold Front limited edition winter beers.
There you go. Boom.
Limited.
Good call.
edition.
Man who knows his beer tastes.
You could, I'm bringing it back to the Bach. You could just drink a lot of these.
Yes, you
this is a
could.
drinking beer.
It's a great drinking beer.
This beer's for drinking.
I imagine like
drinking.
when I'm like a grandpa, like young enough
Uh-huh.
to like still do stuff. I want to have like a fridge in my workshop, and I want like my grandson to come over and open it up and be like, "What's all these yellow things, Grandpa? Can I have one?" And it's just packed bottom to top with Shiner Bock. That's the kind of beer this is.
Is that a soda?
A soda.
Uncle Shell?
They'll be like,
Uncle
"No,
Will?
Yeah, why don't you drink
no,
one?
it's not." But here you go.
Grandpa Will?
What are Will's grandkids gonna be like?
Messed
man.
up is what.
Fine.
No, because here's the problem. Will's gonna have like fairly normal kids because you're a fairly normal person, but there will be some fatal flaw that your kids have that will then get like
Yep.
spun into extremity in your grandchildren.
I don't know.
So,
I'm gonna carry on Werther's though.
we're
Oh,
No.
in your
love
in your
Werther's.
sweater,
Yeah.
in your sweater
think I'm-
vest.
Yeah, in my vest.
I think we're gonna be
Werther's?
too busy. I think we're gonna be too busy fighting off mutated survivors that were from the inevitable nuclear fallout. That's
so
gonna
I'll just
happen.
be like I'll just be like, what's the guy's name from Left 4 Dead? The old guy?
Oh, I don't know his name, but I know you're talking
Yeah, the
about.
old guy.
old guy. Yeah,
Old guy.
that guy.
Yeah, be like him.
Somebody's looking.
I know when
at
I'm
it.
older, I'm gonna be,
It is Bill.
story.
That's
Bill.
right, it's Bill.
See, see there.
which is Bill Shell over here.
Yeah,
Bill Shell. Perfect.
Oh my
Fitting.
god! Please go by Bill at some point in your life. I would
Fun
love
fact:
that.
my grandfather's name was Bill, and he begged for my mother and my father to call me Bill. So they just went with Will because it was close enough, I guess.
You know what? I think that's what we're gonna call you from now on.
I'm not.
Ian, remember to change that in the rest of the script so that he's always
Ugh.
Bill Shell.
No.
Got it.
Henceforth
Copy
he
that.
shall be known as Bill.
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 And then,
It just makes me
Will,
wanna
you have to
scream
go.
Bill
You have to
Bresson.
go. Oh no!
I can't get my voice that high. Because I'm a man.
Mr. Bill! Oh no!
All right, today in the second half of our show, we are going to be joined and interviewing our super special guest and friend of the Game Brew, Kari Bowen. Hi, Kari.
Hello.
Thanks so much for being on the show. We're so excited that you're here.
Thanks
Thanks
for having
being
me.
a friend, also.
Aw.
Thank you for being a friend.
But this much singing was done when we found out you were gonna come on this show.
Oh no.
Do you also sing when you're happy? Because that's just a thing we do spontaneously here.
Yes, absolutely. I also like to get songs stuck in people's heads.
Oh, such as?
No.
No, you don't want me to play this game right now.
I do.
Gary's like,
don't make me call them.
No!
I will call them. Oh.
And she's not even doing it.
She didn't even have to use
Shark
words.
Baby shark doo doo. That's how good she is, guys.
See?
All it took was
It's
the little
bad.
shark boy.
It's bad.
Sharky
Yeah.
boys.
I think that might be. I might have to call the MFC and see if that's a game
Ooh.
like Carrie gets songs stuck in everybody's head.
That would be a good game.
So Carrie, tell us your work in the gaming industry. What companies have you worked for, and what was your role?
In the game industry, I work for NCSoft, and I started off in their QA department, and then eventually I became a GM.
Okay, and a GM is a
Game master. So they're basically like game police.
Oh.
You were the police?
That was game police.
So like in WoW when you would get stuck somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
You would come out and help people get unstuck.
Or someone steals your things, and
Yeah.
You would go back and give them back.
So
okay.
is that a
Did
busy
you only
job?
work? Did you only work Game Wars for that, or Guild Wars for that?
for GM, yeah, just Guild Wars.
Okay.
A little bit of
Before-
Ion, but mostly Guild Wars.
Got it. Before we get into your time with Guild Wars, the question I wanted to ask is, and I think a lot of people are curious about this, how did you get into that industry?
Well, fortunately, I had a friend that worked at NCSoft, and I was kind of burned out with what I was doing, and he recommended, because I love games and I love gaming, and I had technical background, to interview for it, and I got it.
Okay. What do you mean by technical background?
Well, I went to school for networking and system administration, and then I worked for a big computer company in their IT help desk, and eventually project management with them for the
Oh,
help
cool.
desk. Yeah, but so I had QA experience through that.
Nice.
QA is quality assurance for those of our uninitiated friends out there, yeah? So what does quality assurance mean when you're working on a video game?
It means a lot of different things, actually. Primarily, it's finding all the little broken bits and hopefully, recording them and getting the developers to fix them before the game goes live, or after it's come out, reporting it back to them so they can fix the issues. It's also, making sure the game is fun and fun to play.
So you're saying that part of your job was to break the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was day in, day out, breaking games.
So do you feel like you have, number one, have you ever used this power for evil? And number two, do you have any special tricks that we can all try to break games now?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, it's a lot of looking for text errors, looking for floating scenery, looking for collision issues. Like you're not supposed to be able to collide with something, or you are and you can go through it. It's like the floor falling through into the nothing, into the upside down.
So
per se.
has that filtered into the way you play games for personal enjoyment? Are you able to flip that switch and not do that when you play a game on your own time?
I notice bugs, but whether or not I want to repro them and go through the steps and report them, that's, I don't want to do that anymore.
So it
No.
doesn't affect your personal
So it's
gaming
like,
life.
I don't
That's
care
good.
that much.
I'm like, oh, there's a bug. That's nice. And then I move on.
And then
Look at that. There it is.
Yes.
So you were a gamer before you started working in the gaming industry.
Yes. I have been a gamer most of my life. So,
What's your earliest gaming memory?
my earliest gaming memory was Atari. The
Yeah?
old Atari. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm old school.
As opposed
Yeah.
to the new Atari?
Is there a new Atari? There's
that's
the
what I think.
Atari still
emulators.
makes games.
Yeah,
Well, they
sure.
were planning on coming out with a box,
A retro
like
console.
an Atari
And then they
box thing or
realized
something.
yeah.
They were like,
Yeah, I
"Alright."
played the Pongs and the Pitfalls and eventually Pac-Man.
Once
Waka,
things
waka,
got
waka,
high
waka.
tech.
Right.
That was when the shit was getting real crazy.
That's right.
Well, so I guess where I'm going with all this is like, you were a gamer and then you worked in the industry. What effect do you feel like that had on you as a gamer and in your gaming?
Well, while working there, it was really hard to play games not be critical of them. I I'm back to enjoying games now, but back then it was, I don't know, it was a lot harder. You notice all the little problems and you're annoyed by them, or you're just kind of burned out on things. Like I still have a hard time playing games where there's a lot of reading or too much story. I just want to, like if
You
I'm
want the
playing it,
gameplay.
yeah, if I'm playing an MMO or something, just tell me what my objective is and I'll go from point A to point B. I don't want to know the story.
Man.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow, that sounds.
I could never do this job.
I've seen a meme
sounds
that's like,
crazy to me.
I don't know why I'm here. I don't
Yeah.
know how I got here. All I know is that I need to kill.
That's right.
There is zombies. Must kill zombies.
Right. How do I get
Well,
to the next level?
Right. And so that came from just getting burned out on reading a bunch of code?
No, I wasn't reading code. I was doing what's called black box testing. So it was not looking at the code of things or how different files interact with each other and things like that. I was just more the functionality of the game.
So you just played the game.
I just played the game. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, within our department we were assigned to games. We had teams assigned to games, and then there was a special team that was specifically for hardware testing, so hardware compatibility testing.
So like you'd have like for PC, you'd have different levels of PC and say like, oh, this looks like garbage on this, or this literally doesn't play. And
Right.
did
What's
that
the
mean that you would
lowest
help?
specs on
Right,
video
yeah, so,
cards,
like,
things
did
like
you
that?
work on minimum specs?
Oh no, the computers we had were like pretty badass.
Well, no, I meant like, did you work on trying to find the minimum specs?
No, that would be the hardware team.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are like you mentioned before that there are like specific things, especially when you're working in QA, that like annoyed you that you couldn't unsee? Are there any of those things that stick with you to this day, and what are they?
No, not really. I think really the hardest part about it was I couldn't play and enjoy the games that I worked on as much as I wanted to, because you just
You really
when you
missed
have
out.
to,
Guild Wars 1 was great.
well,
I actually never
sure.
played it.
No,
Oh,
I
that's really good.
I had actually played Guild Wars before I started working on Guild Wars. But when you're playing the same instance 100 times in a day, you don't want to then go home and play it at home on a
instance.
on a fun type of playing.
Yeah. You don't really want to see the sausage being made, kind of thing, right?
Sure, yeah.
I think
You
we
you
all-
get burned out on it.
sausage.
I mean, how many times can you play, Diablo from start to finish?
Well, let me
If
tell
Chris
you.
is any indication.
I think we all have that in whatever our jobs are. I do music day in, day out, and I really don't listen to a lot of music or I just don't want to be involved with it much. I don't even like to sit down and play very much anymore, just because it's all I do every day.
I mean, I noticed that when I was going to school for music, is that like, especially when I was taking theory, I would be listening to music and thinking about it and not just enjoying it, because I was thinking, like, analyzing it basically.
So, Kari, one thing people don't know a lot about you is that you're super crafty and you make lots of cool things. So I already know kind of what you're going to answer here, but I really want them to know. Okay, what's the coolest thing you've ever made while working at a gaming company for a company?
For a company?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be the Bling Gnome for Dungeon
Yay!
Runners. Yeah. So Dungeon Runners was this game that was developed by NCSoft. It was a small game. It was all kind of instanced. You'd go into your own instance of the little dungeon and run through, but you had these little skills that you could get. And they decided to try to release a box version of the game, and to entice people to buy it in a box version, they gave them this little thing called a Bling Gnome, and it was an ability that when you clicked on it, a little gangster gnome would pop out, and he would scoop up all the loot on the floor, and he would squat down and he would poop out gold. you didn't have to run back to town and sell all your stuff. So that was the benefit of it. Well, when the producer came and explained it to us, we just thought it was so funny. So I went out and found a garden gnome that had his little pants pulled down. He's squatting down like he's pooping. And I just kind of blinged him out, gave him a bunch of gold chains and
That's
a
awesome.
pimp feather and brass knuckles and a gold grill, and put little rhinestones and did all kinds of stuff to make him just look kind of gangsta.
That's
He's
super
got a tattoo
cool.
on his ass.
Yeah.
He has a heart tattoo on his ass. Oh
Yeah,
my
so
God.
the Overlord demon in the game was named Carl, and so the heart says Carl on his
That's
butt.
very
Yeah.
funny.
But I made
love
it as
that.
a gag gift for the producer, and they loved it so much that they wanted to make it into press kits and then send it out as press kit and also to some of their favorite players. And so we
Nice.
made like 200 of them.
Oh my
That's awesome.
God.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
Carrie actually got a little Kotaku article about it.
That's cool.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
cool.
I just think that's so
Yeah.
fun. That's like
That is
one of
really
my
cool.
favorite weird Carrie stories.
Of which there are many, by the way.
There are so many.
I like your Tibbers. I think your Tibbers, though, is my favorite.
Yes,
that I've
Carrie
made.
made me a very, very cool gift because I want to do an Annie cosplay, which I actually have it pretty together at this point. I've just never whipped it out.
Like, it's a
And-
hard knock life, Annie?
No, sorry, Annie from League of Legends.
Who's your daddy,
Ah.
Warbucks?
Whoa.
Oh my.
Excuse me. Sorry. Or is it a Zaddy Warbucks?
Carrie and I used to play League together, and so she made me a Tibbers when I was gonna put this cosplay together, and it's so cute, so cute. I'll send you guys pictures of it. It's awesome, and she like deconstructed a regular teddy bear and made it.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
That's
that
awesome.
was cool.
That's I love it. I love Tippers. He was always pretty. Tippers.
Have you seen my bear Tibbers?
Gary, what, like, when you were working in QA, what would you say the workplace culture was like? Was it chill? Were people happy? Was it super stressful? Were there pranks? Tell me that.
Yeah, there were pranks, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's because I'm a gamer and I'm into a lot of geeky stuff. It was really cool having moved from a really straight-laced corporate environment into this gaming environment. It was like I found my people, you know,
Oh,
a
that's
bunch
cool.
of fellow gamers and people who like, you know, games and memes and silly stuff, and yeah, so it was a fun place to work. But at the same time, it depends on the managers, because towards the end there were people that came in that kind of made it not that fun of a place to work anymore.
Mhm.
And that happens everywhere, I think, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so
It's like a
they kill the
was-
culture.
thing.
right. So without maybe talking about the managers themselves, like, what about it changed to make it not so happy?
Well, in QA, they did a big reorg, and it's something that's been talked about and covered when it happened by different game sites. But they did a big reorg and basically took out the majority of our department. I think there was like 30 something, and it went down to like, I don't know, maybe 10 or something like that. So it was
Wow.
a huge cut, yeah. So that was kind of blah.
Yeah.
But really, the GM side is where it really it went from being a fun environment to being more like a call center, and that wasn't fun anymore. Yeah.
Gotcha. So was it the same, like, were you doing the same things in the same ways and they just wanted more of that, or did they change the way that you operated?
They changed, like, I know this sounds silly, but they like changed the way we were sitting. They changed our desks. They changed
Oh.
the way that they evaluated us.
So
yeah.
just change like the whole mindset.
Interesting.
Yeah. They got really strict. I mean, it used to be like a little bit more loose and fun, and they, I guess, you know, wanted to make their numbers a lot better and crack down on things.
Here's a question for you, Kari. So you have listened to the GameBrew previously, right?
No, not at all. I don't even know who you guys are.
Wow.
Yes, I have.
So you've listened to the GameBrew before, and now you're on the GameBrew. So if you were working,
You basically
QA,
So you made it. I mean, what do you? Yeah, this is a rise.
It's the big times. Everything's downhill from here.
Yeah, the cat's pajamas.
If you were working QA for the GameBrew, what would you change?
QA for the GameBrew. What do I change?
Yeah, like what's broken here aside from Allison's
All of us.
webcam and Dan's attitude and
Needs more power.
Excuse me.
I don't think you guys are broken at all. I think you guys are great. One thing that you guys did change recently that I think is a big bonus is that there's a lot more social media presence, and I think
Thanks,
that was
Allison.
a good thing. Yeah.
Yay!
But you guys are great. It's a great show.
oh wow, that was a very nice answer.
I like it. I was expecting you to be mean to me, so thank you for.
You need to get rid of that Dan guy.
Shit!
He sucks.
You had to
know
say
what?
something. She forgot you existed for a minute. You were safe.
I
Less
got your
bowl
Q&A after the show.
tapping. No bowl tapping.
No, less bowl tapping.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, while we're on the topic, I think we need more snacks.
Oh God.
We need 100% less snacks, actually.
More beer.
So one of the other things that you're known for being legendary for is running a raiding guild in WoW.
Oh yeah. For quite a long time.
Really?
So what was the name of the guild? How long did you run it? Like, tell us about
Please
this. 'Cause
tell
it
me
seems
you were
like it was
Leroy
something that was a
Jenkins'
big
group.
part of your life.
It was huge.
Yeah, we got fairly big. We started out as a guild called One World Syndicate, which was part of this big FPS gaming community. Some friends of mine ran that and asked me. Well, they started the guild, and then the person that was the guild leader didn't have the time for it, and so they asked me to take over. And then we eventually separated from them because they were really more of an FPS community, and FPS and MMO really aren't the same as far as social. I don't know.
Is it like a Jets and Sharks kind of situation?
That is a good comparison, yeah.
Okay.
But then we became glitched, and yeah, until I left.
Well, did you fix it?
No, we were constantly glitched. That was the fun.
No, that wasn't good, Dan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was fine. It was.
It was. Oh, it was just fine.
I was put it hashtag 2
How
out
many
of 3
Marie
spooky
Kondo?
ghosts. But that was only 2 out of 5 full.
Did that joke bring you joy?
So coming
Spark
to somebody,
joy for you.
by the way, who this is how I met Kari and fell in love. No,
Is
it's
it
true.
just me, or did it just warm up in here?
It's true. I
Uh-huh.
used to threaten her husband often, and now I don't have to threaten him anymore because he understands. I would just take her if I could. But,
Oh man.
I'm not trying to
They're
be
very,
a
like,
homewrecker
Conan
anymore. I'm doing better with my life.
I'm just imagining Allison in a Conan loincloth, and
No,
then
no,
also
panda
like
suit.
dragging
Panda suits.
dragging
Panda
Kari by her hair across the
Yeah.
desert.
The panda suit part is very important. I very drunkenly one night threatened her husband, and it involved me wearing a panda onesie. Anyway, it's a whole thing.
I mean, most of your threats include you wearing a panda
I
onesie.
know,
To
I
be
know.
If you're a
I got
GameBrew
her
fan out
one.
there, send us some fan art of the of Allison in that panda onesie carry across the desert with the
Yeah,
flaming broadsword.
but I met her then, and I was a lowly nobody, and Kari helped me because she's kind.
She
And
raised you up.
she did. She raised me up to be better in that game. And I helped her with a lot of stuff with the guild and stuff like that. I don't think people realize how stressful it is to run something
It's
like a
another
guild
job.
in a
Yeah.
game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
it
mean,
is.
and be serious about it, right? Because we wanted to do well for everyone in the guild. That was important to us, and we wanted to make sure there was structure and stuff. So if you're in a guild with people, appreciate your leaders because like they do a hard job. I think that people don't notice. It's a lot like working for a gaming company on a small scale. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that part of playing that game. I liked WoW, but I really enjoyed trying to make a good guild for people to be in. That was more of the game I liked playing. People management, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like it's like a metagame, right? It's like when you're
It
playing
is.
a game outside the game. Did you was there a time when you felt like this is really hard and not worth it that you got through, or were the times always good in Carryland?
For a couple years there, things are great, and then you just get more and more people that have their own idea of how things should be run, and they come in and they try to shove it down your throat. And eventually, I kind of got to a point where I was like, I'm tired of constantly having to be the bad guy, and I need somebody else to help share this with me. So I went from being the sole guild leader to having a guild council. So at the time, the people who were officers in my guild, they were all people I trusted and respected, and had them, be co-leaders with me. And then
Okay.
eventually, I just couldn't. It wasn't sparking joy for me anymore, and so I had to leave. But I was also a game master too, and so when you're at work all day long dealing with people being shitty, and then you have to go into
Deal
a
with your
game
guildmates being
and
shitty.
deal with shitty people, and yeah, because I mean you're the game police in the guild too. People are being shitty to each other. You have to go in and break it up. You have to be mom, and I
Yeah.
often got the
Counselor.
mom title. Yeah,
You've got like that. You've got that mom title in like triplicate now.
I do.
That's awesome. So, couple other random facts about Carrie. You ran a pirate radio station, or you were a host on a pirate
yes.
radio station?
Yeah, I had a show on a. I mean, okay, so it wasn't pirate because it was actually created as a challenge to the FCC.
You don't have
Because-
to lie. We'll blur your face out for this portion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just
I
as
thought it was a pirate radio station. Like
Yar, these
Yar.
are shanties on the side of the seven seas.
Yeah, no, there was a broadcast range. Like, there was licensing for above a certain broadcast range and below a certain broadcast range, and we kind of fit right in the middle where there wasn't licensing for it. So we were really only broadcasting to the town that we were in, and then eventually they did some online stuff. But yep, I had a show. It was all
What was
kind
your
of.
show?
It was called Welcome to Insanity. It was all kind of. I don't know if you guys are too young for this, but Dr. Demento. So it's all like satirical
Okay.
and funny
Yeah.
songs. Yeah.
I get it. That's
That's
awesome.
amazing. That's really cool. Do you have any of the like recordings from back in the day, or no?
Well, I mean, they're all on cassette tape. So
Yes.
I don't have.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have anything to play it on.
We can play it in my
You-
car.
I can maybe find a Walkman on eBay or something.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I have a 4-track tape recorder, so maybe I'll have to.
Nice.
Maybe I'll have to
copies.
send that down to you.
Making
I'll make some copies of that.
All right. Well, Carrie, it was a pleasure having you on with
Yes,
us
it
today.
was. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah,
Yay.
thanks for talking about this stuff.
And if y'all out there in GameBrew land have any more questions for Carrie, please be sure to send them to us at the GameBrew on the social medias. I think that's gonna be it
Please
for us
harass
tonight. Say
Carrie.
goodnight, everybody.
Good
Good
night,
night,
everybody.
everybody.
Carrie,
Good
say it.
night.
There you go.
You have to say it. No,
No,
you
say it
must-
louder.
You have to mean it.
No, it's not about the loudness. It's about the commitment. It's about the conviction of soul. It's about finding it deep within
All right.
yourself.
Okay, Jerry Bruckheimer.
I'm gonna miss you all. Good night.
so much. Will? Will? God
Will,
damn
are
it.
you eating some
What are
goddamn
you
food right
crunching
now?
on?
Son of
No.
a bitch.
We left him alone.
Left you alone for 5 minutes.
And the boys literally just scolded you for eating, and then he had to eat.
They're pop chips. See?
You can't.
You
God
picked
damn it.
something crunchy.
Crunchiest of things.
Wow.
I can't.
You son of a bitch.
He's
In a
got to
crack-
live up to his
I think
reputation.
In a
I think
crackly
popcorn's
plastic
too
bag. no
quiet,
less.
so I need something that is louder.
I need
Oh,
more
yeah, pop
bourbon.
chips.
I need more bourbon in this Texas tea.
There you go.
Can you hear that? Yeah.
What kind of show is this?